Big brother. On my daughter, we out for my big brother. We ain't trying to talk. Oh, great. We gonna get it, crack. We gonna walk and niggas down straight.
These were some of the last words that FYB Trigga posted on his Instagram story on May 30th, 2022. And looking back at them now, they hit way different. At the time, it just sounded like regular talk, the kind of energy he always carried. But just hours later, everything changed in a way nobody saw coming. What makes this even crazier is the twist behind it all. Because this wasn't some random street situation or a hit from an outside rival. Nah, this went way deeper than that. The person responsible wasn't an enemy. It was someone from his own circle, someone wearing the same identity, the same 3 letters, and the reason behind it, it wasn't some complicated plot. It came down to one risky habit people had been warning him about for a long time. A choice that slowly built up pressure until it exploded in the worst way possible. But to really understand how things got to that point, you gotta understand who FYB Trigga really was. Born Khalil Quincy Austin on December 31st, 1996, he came up in the south side of Chicago, right in the middle of one of the most intense environments in the country. And he wasn't just playing a role or acting tough for the cameras. He was living everything he talked about. While a lot of artists were chasing clout, streams, and viral moments, Trigga was locked into a completely different mindset. Something rooted deep in the streets that raised him. His music wasn't even his main focus, and you can see that clearly. His 2022 project, Freem Smoke Volume 2, barely pulled in 500 monthly listeners on Spotify. But to him, that didn't matter at all. Music was just extra. The streets were the real stage he cared about.
I done jumped that gate and beat him on my dead brother for like real life. Like Pappy, Tavion on my dead brother. Took they pipe, beat Tavion with a full nick on my dead brother. Beat his ass with the nick. Bow, bow. Jump Pappy gate for like $350 in a pipe. These niggas is hoes and they never got their get back on my dead brother.
He was a core member of the FYB Collective, short for Forget Your Block, a group that wasn't just about music. This was real-life affiliation. Founded by FYBJ Main around 2011, this wasn't some studio-created movement. This was built off real connections, real history, and real tension. They had ties to BB Gang 043, also known as The Village, and through family and neighborhood links, those connections stretched even further into Chicago's street network. But with that kind of reach comes pressure, and a lot of drama. Back in 2011, things already started heating up after a major conflict involving STL and other members, and that moment alone sparked a wave of diss tracks, rivalries, and long-standing tension that basically shaped the entire drill scene for years. But what really separated Trigga from everybody else wasn't just his background or even his willingness to step into confrontation. It was something way more personal and unpredictable. In one clip, someone broke it down real clearly, saying, "We've been knowing each other 10, 20 years plus, but at the end of the day, people don't really mess with each other like that. That stuff be a facade. Yeah, they got the same 3 letters in front of their name, but they don't really be together for real." And that right there explains everything. Because from the outside, it looks like unity. But behind the scenes, there's tension, hidden issues, and people moving with their own feelings. And when you mix that with ego, pride, and street reputation, things can flip real fast. And that's where Trigga's name really stood out in a different way. He had built a reputation that wasn't just talk. People around him knew him for what they called taking pipes.
Bro, if you tried to take this man's gun, bro, did he have all rights to shoot you? And then somebody else say, all right, but why you shoot him 3 times, for? If it's probably one of the guys, you ain't gonna hit him like that. You gonna probably hit him in his leg like, man, you tweaking if anything. If you shot a nigga 3 times and up.
That's street slang for snatching weapons, sometimes even from people he knew personally. And this wasn't no one-time situation either. This was something he did repeatedly, something that made his name ring in different parts of the city. But at the same time, that kind of behavior comes with consequences. Because when you keep moving like that, you're not just building a reputation, you're building tension, resentment, and situations that can come back around when you least expect it. By that point, Trigga's reputation wasn't just talk anymore. It was something people actually moved around. Folks in his own circle would literally warn each other, saying, "Watch your stuff around Trig," and that wasn't a joke. That was survival advice. That tells you everything about how serious it had gotten. Even people close to him knew. If you pulled something out around him, you might not walk away with it. And that kind of energy, it doesn't just stay funny stories. It builds tension quietly until it turns into something bigger. FBG Butter, who claimed to be his blood brother, even came out and shared multiple stories that made it clear this wasn't exaggerated. One situation really stood out. Early morning, around 63rd Street, a group linked up, and before anything even happened, Butter and others warned one guy straight up not to flash his 21-shot firearm around Trigga. They already knew how this could go, but the dude didn't take it serious. He pulled it out anyway, like it was nothing. And right there, instantly, Trigga snatched it. No hesitation, no second thought. He checked it, noticed it didn't even have a safety, and reportedly let off a few rounds before casually walking off with it like it was his now.
That's a safe haven. Trigga can go there anytime. Motherfucker love Trigga. So it hit different.
And the crazy part? The only mistake that guy made was ignoring a warning that everybody else already respected. And it didn't stop with random situations like that either. Trigga himself would speak on moments where he ran into names like Young Pappy and Tay Savage, claiming he took their weapons during tense run-ins and left them embarrassed. Now, whether every detail was 100% accurate or not, that's not even the point. Because what mattered was the image it created. It made him look bold, unpredictable, and honestly, reckless when it came to handling situations involving weapons. And in that environment, that kind of reputation isn't just dangerous, it's explosive. Even FYBJ Main, someone close to him and a key figure in the crew, kept trying to step in and slow things down. He saw where this was heading. He warned him multiple times that constantly taking from people, especially within their own circle, was building real tension and putting everybody at risk. And it got so bad that people started moving differently around him. In one clip, someone explained it clear as day, saying, "They already told him, don't pull your pipe out, not because of rivals, but because folks take pipes." That's insane. Imagine being around your own people and still feeling like you gotta move cautious. That's when you know things are already broken behind the scenes. But Trigga didn't slow down, and maybe he didn't think he had to. The warnings kept coming, but he brushed them off like it was nothing. And while all that was building up quietly, the city itself was already on edge. By the end of May 2022, Chicago was going through one of its wildest Memorial Day weekends in years. Over 50 shooting incidents, 9 lives lost.
I know we can play like we out here, we capping, but we love to right, nigga. We out here every day. Nigga, get up with us. Get up with us.
I'm back home. I'm back home. I'm back home. I'm back home. Twinkle me and get shutting your dome. Are we on the screen?
One of the deadliest stretches the city had seen since 2007. And for the FYB crew, it hit even closer to home. On May 28th, 2022, tragedy struck when FYB DJ lost his life during a street altercation in Inglewood involving Derek Washington. According to FYBJ Main, DJ was just trying to defend himself. In one moment, you hear the chaos in someone's voice, saying, "FYB get shot," FB Monty gets shot. FYB Thad gets shot. Like what really happened, bro? Y'all just blacked out like that? That confusion, that panic. It shows how fast everything spiraled. Because once those first shots go off, everything turns into survival. Everybody claims self-defense. And in the end, both men lost their lives and were pronounced at the University of Chicago Medical Center. Just 2 days later, on May 30th, the crew came together to honor DJ with a vigil. The location wasn't random either. It was 1306 East 93rd Street, the home of the late FYB member Archie. That place meant something to them. It was supposed to be safe. A spot where they could gather, remember, and breathe without looking over their shoulders. And that's exactly why what happened next hit so much harder. And then Trigga showed up that night feeling completely comfortable, surrounded by people he trusted, thinking this was one place nothing could go wrong. He even posted his location on Instagram, showing clips of everyone together, throwing signs, letting the world know they were all in one place. Some people later tried to say that might have brought outside attention, but the truth is way darker than that.
Do the red blow. Oh! What are the supposed to do? The red blow. Oh! Oh! Bro, we never like it. Y'all know that bitch in my jack.
Because the danger wasn't coming from enemies watching online. It was already inside the circle. That night, multiple FYB members were there. Monty, Thad, Benji, and even an older member who hadn't really been active like that anymore. And Trigga? He showed up already under the influence, not fully locked in, still moving with that same mindset he always had. One voice later reflected on it, saying, Trigga known for trying to take pipes though. Been knowing him for years, he always been like that. But I always told him, folk, slow down. And then came the regret. I should have told him straight up, like, don't be out here taking people's guns all the time. Your life could be on the line doing that. And that right there, that realization, is what makes everything that followed hit even heavier. Nobody really knows what kicked off that argument that night. And that's what makes it even more unsettling. Stories started flying all over Chicago's drill scene, everybody trying to piece it together. Some people were saying the older member had been leaking private info about the crew. Others were claiming it got personal, that he had been messaging Trigga's girl behind the scenes. But honestly, whatever the surface reason was, that wasn't the real issue. That was just the spark. The truth is, this situation had been building up way before that night. Behind all the brotherhood talk and matching names, there were cracks in the foundation. Jealousy, tension, grief, all of that had been stacking up quietly for years. Just because they all carried the same 3 letters didn't mean they were truly locked in like that.
One of your guys, but at the end of the day, niggas don't really fuck with each other like that, and that's really what the shit really about. Niggas don't really fuck with each other how y'all be thinking motherfuckers be fucking with each other. That shit be a facade, is how I'm looking at that shit for the internet or something. Yeah, niggas got the same 3 letters in front of their name, but at the same time, niggas don't be together for real, because if they was, none of that shit would have just played out, bro.
Sometimes those letters don't mean loyalty. They just mean association. And that night, everything was already charged up. Emotions were high, people were grieving, everybody was armed, and nobody was thinking straight. That's the kind of environment where even the smallest misunderstanding can flip into something deadly in seconds. And right in the middle of all that tension, Trigga did what he had always been known for. He reached out and grabbed the older member's weapon, just like that. No hesitation. The same pattern that people had been warning about for years played out again at the worst possible moment. And that's when the perspective split. One voice broke it down like this, saying, when the shooter shot, bro, if you tried to take this man's gun, bro, did he have all rights to shoot you? And then the debate got even deeper, because someone else responded, "But why you shoot him 3 times for? If it's supposed to be one of the guys, you ain't gonna hit him like that. You're gonna probably hit him in his leg." And then came the harsh reality. If anything, if you shot somebody 3 times in the upper body, you wanted him dead. That right there shows how messy this situation really was. It wasn't just about what happened, it was about how people interpreted it after. At first, it might have looked like a power move. Maybe Trigger was reacting to the rumors, maybe the situation with his girl got under his skin, or maybe he was just moving how he always moved, trying to prove a point the only way he knew how. But this time, he picked the wrong moment and the wrong person. What he didn't realize, what nobody could have predicted in that exact second.
He had another gun on him. Up that gun, hit Trigger 3 times. That's how that shit played out, bro. He upped that other gun, hit Trigger 3 times.
Was that the older member was already prepared. He had a second firearm hidden on him. And that wasn't paranoia, that was survival. Because everybody in that circle knew Trigger's reputation. Over time, people had started adjusting, moving smarter, even carrying backup protection just in case something like this ever went down. And in that split second, everything changed. The older member pulled out that second weapon and fired 3 shots. Fast, direct, no hesitation. One hit Trigger in the chest, another in the side, and one in the lower body. Every shot landed with intention. That wasn't a warning. That wasn't meant to scare him. That was a reaction driven by fear, anger, and instinct all colliding at once. And once that line was crossed, there was no coming back from it. Meanwhile, voices online started getting loud, people speaking on things they didn't fully understand. One person snapped back saying, "Y'all on this just talking. Y'all don't even know what y'all talking about. Y'all not FYB. Y'all don't know what's really going on. Stop creating false scenarios and making stuff up. That ain't happened like that." And that right there shows how messy the aftermath became. Everybody had a version, but not everybody had the truth. But even after taking those shots, Trigger didn't drop immediately. Somehow, he still managed to lift the weapon he had taken and fire back out of pure instinct. His body was failing, his hands shaking, his vision fading. Whether it was the substances, the pain, or just shock taking over, nobody knows for sure. But none of his shots hit their target. And just like that, the entire scene at Archie's house turned into chaos.
Bro, like, yeah, I just blacked out like that. Like, what the fuck really happened? Because now, once them first shots go off, everybody playing self-defense because it's a shot. Nah.
People screaming, weapons still out, confusion everywhere, and everybody trying to process what just happened in a place that was supposed to be safe. And that's where it gets even more complicated. Because people started asking, why did Trigger end up turning on his own people like that? And there's no single answer. Some believe that in that moment, through the pain and confusion, he thought he was being set up, like the whole room had turned against him. With his judgment clouded, every face around him might have looked like a threat. Others think it wasn't calculated at all, just pure fear and survival instincts kicking in. One voice even summed it up simply, saying, he had another gun on him. He upped that gun, hit Trigger 3 times. That's how that played out. And in that moment, everything was moving too fast for logic. It was just fear, confusion, and desperation colliding all at once, and nothing was controlled anymore. The environment was completely out of control, loud, frantic, emotions exploding in every direction. In that moment, nothing was organized anymore. It was pure chaos taking over. Trigger's girlfriend, who witnessed everything unfold right in front of her, didn't hesitate for a second. She rushed him to the hospital, holding on to whatever hope was left. Based on where it happened, and the condition he was in, he was most likely taken to Trinity Hospital. But the truth is, the damage was already too severe. The shots to his chest and side caused massive internal trauma, and despite doctors doing everything they could,
They don't run up on up to you, get shot up.
No, I
They don't run up on up to you, got my box top. Oh, get shot up. That's the grandson.
So that's what you
Khalil Quincy Austin, known as FYB Trigga, was pronounced dead shortly after arriving. Just 25 years old, gone in an instant, like everything just got cut off mid-sentence. At the same time, the others involved were being rushed across different hospitals in the city. Benji's condition was critical at first, especially with a serious chest injury. Doctors weren't even sure he was going to make it, but somehow he pulled through and was released in early June. Monty's injuries were less severe physically, but his situation didn't end there. One voice described Trigga's final mindset saying, he like, F asterisk, 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 it. Y'all trying to set me up. It feel like a back door. Showing just how paranoid and confused everything had become in those final moments. The odd also survived, but details about his condition stayed quiet, adding even more mystery to an already confusing situation. But what really stands out isn't just what happened that night, it's what didn't happen after. Even with one life lost, multiple people injured, and witnesses everywhere, no arrests were ever made, no charges filed, nothing. And that silence, it speaks louder than anything else. It reflects that unspoken code, loyalty mixed with fear, distrust, and a system where nobody wants to talk. And when everybody involved is claiming self-defense, figuring out responsibility becomes almost impossible. Normally, when something like this happens in Chicago, especially involving rival groups, things get loud. Social media fills up, diss tracks drop, people start claiming what they did.
Trigga pull up like, man, you know, folks take pipes, rather don't pull your pipe out. Now, we get there. Now, you gotta keep that in mind. They already told him, don't pull your pipe out.
But this time, nothing. No bragging, no mocking, no outside crews stepping in to take credit. And that silence said everything. This wasn't an outside situation. This was internal. Family turned against family. Later on, FYBJ Maine came forward publicly, trying to shut down the rumors spreading online. He made it clear people needed to stop making things up, stop pushing fake narratives, and actually understand the reality of what happened. According to him, Trigga's long history of taking people's weapons played a major role in how everything escalated. But he also pointed out something even deeper, something uncomfortable about the group itself. From the outside, it looked like unity, but behind closed doors, things were different. People who had known each other for 10, even 20 years weren't as solid as they seemed. Old grudges, hidden issues, and quiet tension had been sitting there for a long time, just waiting for the wrong moment. And that's why the debate never really ended. Was it self-defense, or was there more behind it? From one side, it was simple. His weapon got taken, he felt his life was in danger, so he reacted. But others kept questioning it, especially the fact that multiple shots were fired. Was that panic? Was that intention? In those moments, there's no time to think. Everything happens off instinct. Then things got even more complicated when FYB Lil Mike spoke on it. Responding to a diss track from an artist named Flame, he admitted something surprising, that Flame might actually be onto something. Even without solid proof, he pointed toward deeper issues inside the group.
They're just talking. Here y'all go with this just extra shit, gang. Niggas don't even know what they talking about. Alright, some of this story, that story, bro. Y'all not FYB. Y'all don't know what's really going on with us. So all that extra shit that y'all doing on y'all pages, bro, stop that, man. Y'all creating false ass scenarios and shit, making shit up. Oh yeah, this what happened, this what, bro, that shit ain't happened like that, bro. Y'all ass tweaking, bro.
Trigger had called out people in his own circle before, clashed publicly with others, and carried tension that didn't just disappear. And that opens up a darker possibility. Maybe this wasn't just one sudden moment. Maybe it was something that had been building. Something people felt coming, even if nobody said it out loud. At the end of the day, nobody can say for sure what the full truth is. Some believe it all comes back to Trigger's actions and habits. Others think the deeper internal tension played a bigger role. But the real answers? They stayed with the people who were there that night. What we do know is the damage left behind was real. FBG Butter, who called Trigger his blood brother, shared his pain publicly, showing both love and frustration. He described him as wild, unpredictable, but still genuine and loyal at heart. Someone who couldn't escape the very behavior that led to his end. And not everybody reacted with sympathy either. Tay Savage, someone Trigger had clashed with before, responded with disrespect online. A cold reminder that the energy you put out can come back in ways you don't expect. As of late 2025, no arrests have been made, and honestly, it's unlikely there ever will be. The code stayed intact, nobody talked, nobody pointed fingers, and life just kept moving for those who survived. Benji recovered. Monty continues dealing with legal issues. Thad stayed out the spotlight. And the person who pulled the trigger, still walking free, protected by the same silence Trigger once lived by. It's a full circle ending, shaped by choices, habits, and a lifestyle where one mistake can cost everything. And if stories like this really get you thinking, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. And I'm curious, drop your thoughts below. Do you think this was something that could have been avoided, or was it always going to end like this?